They escorted me out of my own company with a security guard who smelled like Doritos and regret. That was 5 weeks ago. But if we're telling the truth, and at this point, why the hell not? The story starts with a microwave that short-circuited in my studio apartment 9 years back. I was reheating leftover pad thai while debugging the first version of our sentiment analysis model. It was midnight. I had a migraine. I was maybe 3 hours from accidentally building something that would later help a Fortune 100 company avoid a billion-dollar PR disaster. Back then, it wasn't a company. It was me, a whiteboard, and a laptop that wheezed like a dying cat. The walls were cracked. The neighbor screamed through drywall about who owed who a vape cartridge. And my idea of luxury was 2-ply toilet paper. But the model worked. And when it worked, I felt this stupid, chest-thumping kind of joy, like I was cheating gravity. Within 18 months, my apartment had turned into an illegal fire hazard of employees. We had a caffeine budget higher than our rent. And somehow, between sleepless nights, broken ramen packets, and one weird moment when our backend went viral because someone thought we were predicting the apocalypse, we got noticed. A mid-sized firm swooped in with promises. Funding, expansion, mentorship. We want to honor your vision, they said. We just want to help scale it, so I sold $1. No, that's not a typo. I sold my company for a single dollar. Not because I'm some saintly idiot, but because the deal was structured to give me equity, long-term influence, and most importantly, an airtight clause buried deep in the contract. If I were ever fired without cause, I could buy it back. Same price, $1. I remember my lawyer, Mason, pausing when he read that line. "You think they'll forget?" he asked. I laughed. They won't even see it, and they didn't. Not the new CFO, Brent, with his square jaw and MBA-inflated ego. Not Vanessa, the VP of brand alignment or whatever the hell title she gave herself, who once told me the word data was too masculine for our pitch deck. And certainly not the board, who barely glanced past the page with the projected returns. Anyway, before I go further, let me be real with you. 95% of you listening right now aren't subscribed. And I get it, commitment's scary, but I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers like ever in my life. So, if you like stories where arrogant execs accidentally hand me back my empire for the price of a gas station coffee, consider subscribing. No hard sell, just a little digital fist bump. Now, where were we? Right. I stayed on after the sale. Officially as Chief Strategy Officer, unofficially as the last person in the room who still gave a shit. At first, it was fine. They let me run the product team. Brent stayed in his spreadsheet kingdom. Vanessa posted inspirational quotes on LinkedIn and got drunk at networking brunches. But little things started shifting. Monthly innovation meetings turned into brand syncs with no engineers invited. The R&D floor got repainted in pastel mindfulness colors that gave everyone migraines. And instead of analyzing user feedback, we started running it through tone optimization AI to make it sound more upbeat. Meanwhile, I'd get pulled into meetings just to be ignored. Brent would talk over me with phrases like market synergies and agile recalibration. Vanessa started introducing me as our founding spirit, which is corporate code for this person used to matter. I kept quiet. I took notes. I paid attention. And one night, 2 a.m., just me and a bottle of bourbon and a sinking feeling in my gut, I pulled out the original agreement. Found the clause, still valid, still binding. Section 14C, tucked in right after a page on arbitration clauses and IP disclaimers. My nama, my dirhams, my dollar. Mason was still my lawyer, still picking up when I called. Asterisk didn't say much. Just start prepping. Asterisk he didn't ask what for. He knew. The first thing they killed was the whiteboard. It was one of those old-school monsters, chipped on the corners, permanently smudged with dry erase ghosts from brainstorms past. We called it Bertha. I'd scribbled the entire MVP architecture on it the night before our first pitch to investors. The devs would leave weird cartoons on it at 3 a.m. to cope with death sprints. That board held blood, sweat, and a disturbing amount of off-brand coffee stains. Vanessa had it hauled out during one of her office vibe audits. "We're elevating the aesthetic," she chirped. "Bertha gives off founder trauma, founder trauma." That was week 1. By week 4, The weekly product jam had been rebranded as a brand alignment touchpoint. No engineers, no data scientists, just marketing folks talking about how our user analytics platform should evoke trust vibes instead of triggering anxiety loops with aggressive metric transparency. Brent nodded sagely during those meetings, which was rich coming from a man who once said, Asterisk, why do we even need a UX team? Can't we just copy Shopify? Asterisk, the vibe shift was slow, but it scratched at me like fiberglass under the skin. Clients who used to call me directly started looping in their new contacts, mid-level managers trained in ignoring real issues and thanking you for your patience. Our best data lead, Asha, cornered me in the parking garage one night. I'm getting offers, she said, whispering like the walls had ears. Asterisk, real offers. Double what I make here. What's happening upstairs? Asterisk, I didn't lie. I said, I don't know, but I'm watching, and I was. Closely. The engineering floor went from a vibrant chaos of post-it storms and late-night burritos to a graveyard of empty desks and recycled buzzwords. They slashed the NLP research budget by 70% to fund a rebrand campaign that featured a beach ball mascot named Trusty. Trusty. For an AI analytics company. I almost threw my keyboard through window. They started letting go of redundant roles, which is corporate for anyone not drinking the Kool-Aid. I tried to raise concerns. Brent smiled like he was posing for a toothpaste ad and told me, Asterisk, you're emotionally attached. That clouds strategic clarity. Asterisk, Vanessa chimed in. We need to think like a rocket ship, not a museum. She said that with a straight face while wearing a $900 jumpsuit covered in stars. That night, I went home, poured a drink, and pulled the contract from my locked cabinet again. Reread section 14C slowly. Carefully. The executive is terminated without cause. She may exercise her right to repurchase the asset as defined in Exhibit A at the original consideration amount within 30 days of notice. I didn't finish the sentence. I didn't need to. The clause was still there, still legal, still binding. Mason texted me the next morning without prompting. Still want me watching their filings? I replied with a thumbs up. Then I printed the clause again, folded it, tucked it into the inside flap of my work laptop sleeve. Not because I was going to use it yet, but because something in my gut, something ancient and feral, was starting to whisper. They were going to push me, and when they did, they wouldn't see it coming. It happened in the Q2 review. What should have been a routine numbers meeting turned into a live execution. The boardroom was freezing, the kind of expensive cold that says we pay too much for AC because we can. I was flipping through the monthly performance deck when Brent cut me off mid-sentence.